So today I'll be talking about graphing a transformation, and we're going to use the function g of x is equal to 2f bracket 1 over 3x plus 2 bracket. Now this is something that not many people would be familiar with because this is not on their assignments or on their homework, and this actually comes up on tests and assessments to really test your understanding of transformations, number one, and number two, which is more important, your understanding of a function itself and how to apply it and your critical thinking. So this f right here is not a variable. This entire thing is a function. So what is f of 1 over 3x plus 2? We don't know what it is. All we know is that it's a function. We do not know what it signifies or what it is. But the question continues on such that f of x is equal to x cubed. Now you may be confused because there's an x here, an x here, and then an x in this function itself. So the same variable represents different things. The questions usually come up as this in this format, but to make things simpler, you can imagine it as f of a bracket. So instead of writing this here, you can just write f of a bracket is equal to that bracket cubed. So f of 2 is equal to 2. You just take the bracket and you cube the bracket. Now this question, we don't want this function inside of the equation. We want to know what this function is to graph the transformations, because you can go right ahead and graph this with just looking at this equation here and try to graph the transformation. It won't work. So we said f of a bracket is equal to that bracket cubed. So f of 1 over 3x plus 2 is equal to 1 over 3x plus 2 cubed. Now you can write that down as g of x is equal to 2 1 over 3x plus 2 cubed. Now we can isolate this term here. We can factor it out to make it simpler for us to graph. G of x is equal to 2 1 over 3x plus 6 cubed plus 0 at the end. You don't have to write that down. Why does a 2 become 6? Because you're factoring out the 1 over 3, which is 2 divided by 1 over 3, which is the exact same thing as 2 multiplied by 3 over 1, which is equal to 6. Now, what is g of x equal to x cubed? What is the difference between this and this original thing that we were given, this f of x definition? Well, g of x is just telling you what the function originally was, so what the parent function was, what it originally was. But this is telling you what to do with the function, this thing right here inside the equation, so we can graph the transformation. So let's look at the vertical stretch. The vertical stretch, it's really messy. Look at the vertical stretch or compression, which is just equal to this term, which is 2. The horizontal stretch or compression, which is actually the inverse of k, because k is confusing, or k is confusing. It's kind of lame, but k is confusing, so it's the so the horizontal stretch or compression is inverse of k. So the horizontal stretch or compression is 3, and the vertical or the horizontal translation is 6 units to the left. Now we're going to start to graph this function. Let's just clear all this and make some space. Okay, so we have, let's write down this function again. We have y, or g of x, is equal to 2 1 over 3x x plus 6 cubed, right? Well, we already have the parent function y is equal to x cubed. Now we're going to start off with the vertical stretch and compression, which is by a factor of 2. Now the vertical, y is the vertical. So we just multiply all the y coordinates by 2. So this y coordinate at this point 2, 8. The y coordinate is 8, so we just multiply that by 2 and keep the x coordinate the same, which will be 2, 16. This one is 1, 1, which will basically the y coordinate is 1, multiplied by 2, 1, 2. So 2, 16, 1, 2. This one will go here, negative 1, negative 2. And this one will go down here, which will be negative 2, negative 16. We can draw the graph right now. See if you can draw this as neat as possible. Well, this is a rough sketch. So we graphed the vertical stretch and compression. Now let's move on to the horizontal stretch or compression. The horizontal stretch or compression is by a factor of 3 because it's inverse of k. So the horizontal stretch or compression is 3, which is the inverse of k, because remember k is confusing. Well, the x is the horizontal. So we multiply all the x values by 3. We multiply all the x values by 3. So we'll just take 2 and 16. Well, the x coordinate is 2. We multiply that by 3. We get 6, 16. Now we do the same thing here. We multiply the x coordinate by 3. We get 3, 2. Same thing here. We get negative 3 and negative 2. And we do the same thing here. We'll get negative 6, negative 16. So we'll graph that rough sketch. It's really messy, but just want to get the point of this. Now, finally, last but not least, we have the transformation, horizontal translation, 6 units to the left. So we just move everything 6 units to the left. So this point will be right here, 0, 16. Just move, because remember horizontal is the x. So 0, 16, we move this here, we get negative 3 and 2. We move this down here, which will be negative 9 and negative 2, and this point will be off the graph, so we'll just draw this here, and the 0 will just be negative 6, 0. So we'll just draw this. So there you have it. So we applied the transformations, we understood the concept of how to look at the definition of a function, we apply that, then we graphed all the transformations. Be sure, I hope this video helped, be sure to comment, rate, and post your criticisms, or if it helped you out in the comment section below. Thank you very much.